Shalom everybody, hope you're doing well. Hope your week was great. Getting ready for Shabbat here. After a very powerful week. Two very intense and emotional days, both in different ways. Yom HaZikaron and Yom HaAtzmaut. Of course, Yom HaZikaron, Memorial Day here in Israel for all the fallen soldiers and the terror victims who have fallen over the past many, many years. Over 23,000 people being remembered on this day. Those who have given their lives, sacrificed their lives, and lost their lives in the defense of this country and the wars that this country has been forced to fight. And right away, from going to that, from that place of mourning and of reflection and of remembering and of sadness, right away bursting forth into celebration and happiness and joy, the highest joy of celebrating our independence, our return to this land, the renewal and the rejuvenation of the Jewish people back in our ancient homeland. It's the most incredible thing. Right? To connect to it and to celebrate it outside the land of Israel is a great thing, but how much more so here in the land of Israel, dancing on this soil. We know that just a week before that we had Yom HaShoah, and here in Israel, like on Yom HaZikaron, a siren sounded, ceremonies were held to remember the Jews, the 6 million plus Jews who lost their lives, who were murdered just for being Jews in this world. So it's a very intense time. We're between Pesach and Shavuot, and there's so many things happening. This week specifically, the Torah portion is Acharei and Kedoshim. There are two Torah portions, again, together, like last week we had. So all these different things happening together, maybe just try them together in hopefully a clear way to share a thought. And sometimes we've said this in the past, but sometimes we can extract the Torah, we can extract the teaching, a lesson, just from the names of the Torah portions themselves. And I think this week is a very powerful example of that. Acharei, which translates as after the death, and Kedoshim, which translates as holy. Right? They're each talking about their own special thing. Acharei, talking after the death of the sons of Aaron. Right, and then the Torah goes into all these different laws of the rituals and the day of Yom Kippur, Yom Kippur, right, back in many thousands of years ago in the temple. And Kedoshim, meaning holy, meaning these are the ways you're holy, right? The Torah tells us that we should be holy. That's our job in the world, is to be holy, is to bring Kedusha, holiness into the world. There's a question that is asked. Between Pesach and between Pesach and Shavuot, we start to count already Sfirat Omer. We count the days going from Pesach already to Shavuot. And we start already in the second night of Pesach. And the question is asked by Reb Chaim Cohen, the Chabban, why do we start counting already towards Shavuot while we're still celebrating Pesach? Right? Okay, you want to count towards Shavuot, you're getting excited, like we're receiving the Torah on Shavuot. Understandable, but why not wait till after Pesach is over and then count? Let Pesach have its time for its celebration and Shavuot have its time for its celebration. There's an idea in Jewish thought that you don't mix one joy with another, one simcha with another, right? And clearly, by already counting Sfirat Omer, we're mixing the joy of Shavuot, which has not yet even come, in with the joy of Pesach, which is happening right now. So he answers very powerfully. He says, when we left Mitzrayim, right, it was an amazing thing. We left hundreds of years of servitude, of bondage, of slavery. Of course, it was an incredible thing and an amazing thing, something that the Jewish people longed for so many years. But when we left Mitzrayim, was that the end of the story? Was that it? If you asked the Jews as they were leaving, so who are you? What are you? Right? What would they say? They say, I'm free. Well, what does it mean to be free? I'm not a slave anymore. I'm no longer a slave. Amazing, but what are you? I don't know. All I know right now is that I'm free. I'm not a slave. And right in there is the whole idea. Right? That leaving Mitzrayim was leaving behind a negative experience which needed to be left behind. But they had not yet come into who they were going to become and who they needed to become. And that was Shavuot. So right away the idea, the message is being made very clear to the Jewish people. Yes, you're being freed from slavery. Yes, you're leaving behind this harsh and hard past. But being free is not just about being a slave. Being free is not just about being what you are not. It's about being what you are. There has to be a positive side to that. And that was accounting towards Shavuot. That was accounting towards the day that we're going to become a nation, that we're going to become a people, that we're going to get our task, our mission, our purpose in this world. Right? And so the counting had to start right away to make sure the Jewish people knew, as you're leaving, know that you're leaving for a purpose. You're not just leaving to be free, to take care of yourselves, to sit on the couch and watch TV. Right? You're leaving with a deep reason and mission in this world. And you need to start getting ready for it right now. Come into our modern day times, and this week's Torah portion, Acharei, after the death. There has not been a bigger death of the Jewish people on a national level, like as we spoke about last week, than the Holocaust. Right? After the death of our people, even though we were still alive, there was a remnant of Jews still left in the world. We weren't all annihilated, of course, but thank God. But we all experienced, both in that generation and every generation since, we experienced the death. That was the deepest death, I think, the Jewish people, of all the oppressions and all the hard things that we've gone through in our history. That was the deepest death we've gone through. But we came out of it. We survived as a nation, and we moved forward. And we came within 3 years of the liberation of Auschwitz. We're standing up as a people and declaring our freedom, our independence here in this land. Amazing. Wow. We left it behind, like we left Egypt behind many thousands of years ago. We left behind Germany and Poland and Auschwitz and the camps and the ghettos. And we came back to our land. Maybe not all the Jews, but enough of the Jews to rebuild ourselves here into this soil. And the question is, okay, so now that you're here, so what are you about? Is it that you're just not in Auschwitz? You're just not in Europe anymore? You left behind the anti-Semitism of that land? Or is there something more? And the Chabad goes on and speaks more about this and says that we have a higher purpose. Of course, coming into the land in our modern day time was such a miracle, was such a blessing from above, such a moment of redemption. But again, just like the leaving of Egypt, it wasn't the end, and it isn't the end of the story. Right? It wasn't just to be away from oppression and hardship, right? Although of course that is inherently and deeply important. But now that we're back in our land, now that we've been redeemed on some level, to a certain level, now we have to ask ourselves, now what? Now what are we here for? What is our deeper mission? So as we celebrated this past week, both Yom HaZikaron and specifically Yom HaAtzmaut, and celebrating our independence, that we're free, like we say in HaTikva, Liot Am Chovshi, B'Aratzinu, to be a free people in our land. Yofi, great, being free is an amazing thing. No one can deny that, and no one should deny that. But it's not the end of the story. Right? What do we need to do? We need to take that moment now that we have because we're free, and now be holy. Go from being an Am Chovshi, a free nation, to an Am Kadosh, a holy nation. Right? Acharei Kedoshim. After the death can also be understood metaphorically as a transition, as a period where I'm going from one experience to another, one mindset to another mindset, one chapter in our story to another. And we're moving from Acharei to Kedoshim, and with the Jewish people back in our land, celebrating, thank God, another year of independence here, we still have to keep asking the question, what is it all about? Have we reached our ultimate and final goal? No. We're on our way. It's an amazing thing to be part of. Right? We can still celebrate, but we can't forget that our ultimate goal is to be Kadosh, to be an Am Kadosh, to be a holy nation. Right? So that we're not just, as the Chabad beautifully says, not that we're just away from the oppression of the nations, but that we should be a light unto the nations. And now standing firm on our soil here in our land, right, we can do that for the first time in 2,000 years. So I want to give all of us a blessing, and of course I include myself into that, whether we live in the land of Israel or we don't, to see ourselves as part of the people of Israel, and the story of the people of Israel, and the unfolding story of all of human history. And what we have to do as our own individuals and as part of a collective called the Jewish people, what we have to do, what we can do, what we should do, well, hopefully we will do, right? To become holy individuals, to become a holy collective nation, and to spread light and beauty and purpose to the entire world. May it come soon in our days. Sending lots of love and blessing from the land of Israel. Shabbat Shalom.